I want to tell a little bit about Doug's generosity. After my dad passed away, I had kind of tried to reconnect a little bit with Doug.
I've learned a lot about the family. It's a great family.
Our family, the Kruger family, is 6 of us. We grew up right down the street from the 7 Mertz kids.
I'm the last of 5 Tarbert kids, and we all knew the Mertzes and the Krugers, and kind of comes with the territory.
And all of us, my brother Martin, my brother Peter, and me, spent a lot of time with various members of the Mertz clan.
Doug posted a picture of his backyard full of cars, full of trucks. And I told him, hey, how about I help you with one of your projects in exchange for a truck, because I need a truck.
We went on vacation one year back to Missouri to the grandparents. And while we were there, the hay harvest was going on. And so we all pitched in to help. Well, because Doug wasn't really big enough to manage the hay bales, they had him drive Grandpa's truck.
Ted and Lydia's tree is growing long and strong.
He was usually a very sunny person. I very rarely ever saw him upset about anything, but he was over at the house a lot, spending time with my brother Martin. I think they were a lot closer than I was to Doug.
And then he says, just come get this S10. Just come get it. I'm like, what? He said, no, just come on up. Come get it. The guy didn't even have a running truck of his own, and he still had something to give.
So we're out there in the field, we're loading up the hay, Doug's driving the truck, and he got into a little swale, he sped up the motor, and the truck died. Doug broke Grandpa's truck. Grandpa's throw in the ditch. And I was 17, I said, I can fix it.
But when we were in high school, there was like a really bad marching band, and none of us liked marching band, but we made a kazoo band.
Everyone, my parents loved him. I think they loved him more than they loved some of us sometimes.
We dove into it, tore it all apart, got it all back together, went to start it up, and it would backfire and pop and spitfire and wouldn't run. And I didn't know what to do.
Every Tuesday, Doug would show up to my house with a box of parts from the car restoration shop that he worked for, Scott Restoration. And then each part was different and original and had different problems. And he and I would sit there and figure out how were we going to restore or replace each of these broken parts.
And when everybody stood up for the Star Spangled Banner, we would whip out our kazoos and pretty soon there were like 10 of us doing this. And Doug made shirts for the kazoo band. I had already graduated. I was a year ahead of him in that, but he made kazoo band shirt.
And Dad got a hold of his cousin who comes over, and he walks in with this antique snap-on toolbox and walks up and says, try it. And that pops and sputters and goes, 180 out.
The more time I spent with him, the more time I wanted to spend with him because of how much I could learn from him, between his fabrication skills, his artistic abilities, his passion for building and making stuff. It was so inspiring to me.
And between the two of us, we would always figure out a way to fix this old antique car part. And then I could count on it. Every Tuesday, next Tuesday, he's coming back. He'd take away a box of parts and leave a box of parts with me. I found that I really looked forward to those visits.
He does some things, fires right up. Grandpa goes, huh! Goes downstairs to the basement, breaks out the beer. Hands beers around everybody, gives Doug a beer. Dad says, he's too young to drink. Grandpa says, he works like a man, he can have a drink like a man. And we fixed Grandpa's broke truck, and he didn't throw it in a ditch.
Seems like I've known Doug forever. They lived down on Day in Florida, which was an easy spot to roll down to, and always a destination for us kids looking for a beer on a Friday night, right? The old Mertz garage.
He always brought, sunshine in with him. Happy, joyous, can-do, and we delighted in brainstorming these problems and finding out the solutions.
Long ago, I told him I always wanted to have a Model A. So he said, let me give you your Model A part to start, the first part to start with your Model A. He gave me a front wheel.
The Grateful Dead were playing the Hollywood Bowl one summer, and they'd been playing around a lot, and I decided I didn't want to go. Peter Kruger bought a whole bench at the Hollywood Bowl.
And he was a mechanical guy, so he fit in well over at our house. My dad always had us under the hood doing something, and Doug fit right in there. And so he got along great with my dad, and they liked old cars. We got into old cars and stuff, and seemed like he could fix anything.
So I figured I put it by the front gate, so every time I had to walk past it, I would be thinking I had to start working on that Model A. And now it just makes me think of Doug.
That light of goodness, of kindness was still shining in him. And I found that I just enjoyed his company so much. And I can't think of a single time where we had an argument or a harsh word went between us. Not even once. Every time it seemed like our friendship and respect for each other was better and better and better.
So lo and behold, Doug and I decided we're going to go buy tickets in the bleachers, made arrangements to come sit down with Peter and everyone. That was when Peter was working at Kenny's Shoes, and he had this big box of promotional frisbees from Kenny's Shoes. See a few heads nodding there.
Today, I wanted to take a moment to share what Doug meant to me. Oh, I'm already going. Because he wasn't just Danica's dad, he was a second dad to me too. I've known Doug since I was 6 years old, and I practically grew up in the Mertz house. Ooh, Saturday mornings were always the best because we'd wake up and go get donuts in our pajamas. And being the oldest of having little sisters, I never got to have anything of my own. So I always got to pick out 4 donuts, and they were all mine, and I could eat all of them. And on the really lucky days, he would make us chili eggs, and it was always such a special treat. And as much as I love the chili eggs, Doug's grilled cheese will forever be infamous. Nothing I can ever attain will be as good as Doug's grilled cheese.
I worked with him one summer at the restoration shop, and there was always a queue at his table, somebody bringing him stuff that they broke or they couldn't figure out, and Doug would somehow make it work again.
This last May Day, Doug, the maypole went up, and then he lied down on the grass next to Angie as she was playing the harp. And he just seemed so blissful and joyous, a quiet, inner joy.
Drove up into the Hollywood Hills in the Morrie fern truck like the Beverly Hillbillies. And Peter brought out the box of frisbees. So I said, let's start throwing around now, get everyone.
Yeah, I remember that.
Get everyone going, yeah. And Peter said, no, he wanted to do them all at once. So we waited, he sat on those frisbees, and he sat through Commander Cody on the frisbees. Then the Dead came out, and he waited till the Dead were all there, and they'd actually played one song. And he gave us all the frisbees, and he insisted we all throw them out all at once. And we did. And Jerry Garcia said, Oh, wow, we must be in Hollywood, man.
One of the things I love most about Doug was how he always embraced all of our completely random, silly projects, and he never made me feel like they were silly at all. Me and Danica were always making a movie or singing High School Musical at the top of our lungs in the living room, or otherwise taking up the entire house somehow. And he always went along with it and always encouraged it. My one example is we once made a movie about feet, which we could probably sell on the internet, but not only was he like, yeah, that's completely normal and fine and you should do that, but he starred in it because he had some unique feet.
Doug and I were trudging around the Santa Clarita swap meet, and there was this guitar there, and so Doug and I are, well, should we get, it's missing this little part and that, and I know, I don't know, Doug, well, we could fix that, and I'll tell you what, I'll pitch in on it, and we can get it. Like, no, okay, I'll buy it. So I think I paid $20 for it.
And when it was over, Doug and I walked up into the Hollywood Hills to the Morrie Fern truck with Beverly Hillbillies, switched back to Tehunga.
I remember when we were in high school, we went to the Palladium in Hollywood to see Chuck Berry and Little Richard. And we were walking, from the track to the venue, and we were by the back door, and Chuck Berry was standing out there.
Wow.
And Doug just went right up to him, and, they had a little chuckle together. I don't know what he said. I was too shy, but anyway, that's just the kind of person he was, always.
And then the other thing I'll always remember is we were splatter painting Danica's room, and I am not an artist. You can see my sketch in a sketchbook if you need proof. And I completely messed it up. I put blue paint in big blobs all over the wall. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh. And he came in, he was like, no problem, we can fix it, it's gonna be great. And he did, he made it great, it was beautiful. But he left one blob for the memories. And I remember always being like, there's my blob.
The little piece was where you plug in the cord. And Doug made, the one little piece was missing, so Doug crafted a piece out of a spoon. And as you see, if you look at the guitar, it fits perfect. The curve of the spoon matches the body of the guitar, and
wow.
It looks like it was always made for it.
When he made Danica that lightning bug, like Halloween costume, I'm sure Dee Dee had the idea. She loved lightning bugs in Indiana and all that. But that was just amazing, and it worked so great. I borrowed that a few years later for my daughter.
I will always cherish how safe he made me feel. No matter what was going on, I could always go to their house, whether it was 2 in the afternoon for my lunch break or 2 in the morning. He would always welcome me in, usually with drawings or like some car part in the middle of the TV, watching TV.
He was working on some old Dodge, old flathead engine or something, rebuild it and all that, but it wouldn't start, And so I guess he thought I knew what I was doing, because I worked on some old crap too. The brother is a big responsibility. You're supposed to teach your younger brother how to get along in the world. I was fortunate because I had an older brother as well. My brother Dennis taught me all the important things, like how to use Chinese finger cuffs to tie up somebody, or the correct technique for applying an Indian wrist burn. And I had to pass these things along to my little brother, obviously. If my older brother could show me scientific evidence that you really could make a match burn twice, I had to pass that along to Doug.
He said he always wanted to play. I said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna tune it to a slide tuning for you. So all you need to do is put your finger across it, or get a slide, and you can play around learning slide with it.
We all went up to the Idlewild to the little cabin in the snow, and my oldest was a baby, and I just remember Dad just kind of playing with her, making her laugh, and I don't know, it might have been the first time she laughed. It was beautiful. Anyway, he was a good dad.
My daughter got in a little car accident with her Acura, and it was in pretty bad shape. And I talked to Doug, and he said he would give me a hand with that, even though it was breaking the rules because it was a new car, newer car, and usually didn't work on anything, newer than about a 1940.
We came up with a way to entertain ourselves. We decided to start collecting Christmas trees after Christmas, bringing them home and putting them in the backyard. It was just a great thing to do. We could pit the boys against the girls, and whoever got the most trees or the biggest trees were the big winners. Dennis and I went out a couple times in the middle of the night and drug home these 20-foot trees from the church down the street. Blew everybody's mind. Well, one night we were all going to go out and collect Christmas trees. Doug was about 5 years old, and we told him he couldn't come because he was too little. So we all took off to go find Christmas trees. We get home and Doug's not around. And Mom says, "Well, where's Doug?" And nobody knows where Doug is. And Doug's missing. Doug had climbed on his little pedal tractor and taken off down the street to go collect Christmas trees. So Mom's in a panic, running all over town trying to find him. Couldn't find him, finally calls the police station. And they had him in custody. They apparently frown on him operating farm equipment on Brand Boulevard. And so she went down to pick him up, and he was sitting on somebody's desk eating ice cream.
I said, well, put the old spark plugs back in it. Try it again. Started right up, So I feel guilty about this. This little young Doug guy, he thought I knew what I was doing. It was a stroke of luck, I swear. He was a good guy.
My friend Debbie came up and she hit one of my contacts out of my eyes, and we were like searching on the floor for it. And I was like, "Oh my mom's gonna kill me." And all of a sudden, Doug appeared, and he goes, "Is this what you're looking for?" And I looked at him, and I was like, "How did you find that?" I mean, we were just searching the floor. He goes, "Oh, it's just right there. Is that what you're looking for?" And I go, "Oh my God." And so I gave him a big hug, and I said, "Thank you, you've saved my life."
12 years old, 13 years old, when all the other kids were getting Stingray bikes with banana seats and ape-hanger handlebars, Doug's bopping around town on an old, modern-day version of an 1800s high-wheeler with a big wheel in the front and a little wheel in the back, wearing hats and vests and little wire rim glasses. He actually got that because my mom's uncle had passed away in Missouri, and she went back to clean out his property and came back with a whole mother load of outdated men's wear, basically. And so when Doug saw all the hats and vests and stuff that she brought back, he just jumped right in and he was changed forever.
He was able to, it was badly dented, and he had to get out one of his special tools because he's got about 1,000 of them. And he was able to get that dent out, and we were back in business. So it was really nice of him to do that. And I also got to drink some more of his Miller High Life, so it worked out great.
So we were all, back in the day, smoking pot and drinking beer and all that. And so Doug and Dennis had fallen asleep on the couch in the house. And so Donald and I and Lori decided that we'd put this prank on. And so we stuck seeds and stems in their beards, and we set up their beers in their lap, and then we took string and we strung it all together, and we got an alarm clock, You know, one of those old-fashioned alarm clocks, and we set the timer, and then we went outside, and we're sitting there in the window watching, and it starts raining.
Doug fell in love with trucks, starting with the aforementioned Morrie Fern truck. That was the delivery truck for our furniture store. My mom drove that truck all over LA picking up furniture by herself. Dennis escaped the Watts riots in that truck. I drove it for 2 years to college, out to Northridge and back every day. And then Doug got a hold of it. And he hauled it around, hauled local rock stars around in it as a roadie. Eventually the truck gave up and wound up parked in Dad's front yard.
And I'm going, oh great, now it's raining. And we're sitting out there, Lori and Donald and I are standing out there looking in the window. Like, okay, this is gonna be good, you know. And then the time's going by and I'm like, Donald, did you set the alarm? He goes, yeah, I set the alarm, you know. And he's going, and so it's raining and we're going, okay, this isn't working. And I go, you need to go back in there and check it. So he goes back in the house, he takes this, I did set it. We go back outside and it goes off and it was like slow motion. The two of Dennis and Doug are like, oh, they're like, oh, like that. There's Lori and Donald and I hysterically laughing, you know, like we were crazy. It was really funny though. It would have been a great, you know, like.
Always enjoyed his company and always look forward to seeing him. I think we went to Pebble Beach with him one year, and that was really neat. Really enjoyed that, and we did visit him at Lake Los Angeles years ago during a solar eclipse, and that was really a special day.
You guys met Devin earlier. Devin's our nephew, and Devin's been working on he's kind of a truck guy now too, right?
I guess so.
Now?
Yeah, 4 trucks now.
4 trucks now, okay.
None of them run, just like Doug.
You're getting close.
Family tradition.
Well, about 20 years ago, Devin decided to remodel his garage. And he decided when he was going to do that, he was going to add an apartment overhead above the garage. Well, when we were kids, if you saw a garage with an apartment overhead, it meant it was the chauffeur's quarters. Well, Devin's not going to have a chauffeur to drive his Honda Prelude. So I guess now the new thing is it's called an ADU, additional dwelling unit. I guess if you have something to dwell on, you need some place to go dwell on it. So you go to the ADU and you dwell on it. So Devin's been working on this a while. He's had to go to building and safety and get permits and plans and inspectors and dealing with contractors and electricians and plumbers and you name it. He's up to his eyeballs in it. Good news is he's only got about 4 more years to go. I think he'll be done. He could have saved himself a lot of time if he'd have just talked to his old Uncle Doug. Because old Uncle Doug was walking around the yard one day and he had something to dwell on. So he grabbed a 50-foot power cord, a mattress, and an old steamer trunk, the kind with little drawers in it, threw it in the back of the Morrie Fern truck, and had him an ADU.
I used to be a vegetarian for a long time, and so I would make this soup, and I'd call it bean weenie soup, and I would call Doug off the phone, and I go, hey, want to go over for dinner? And he goes, yeah, what are you having? I go, we're having bean weenie soup. He goes, I'm on my way. Every time, and I'd always call him up and go, okay, what are you having? Bean weenie soup. He goes, I'm coming, you know. Anyway, so I really love Doug, and we had so much fun together, all of us, and
Doug was my big brother. He took really good care of me. We had some major fights when I was little, but man, we had some fun too. Donald talked about the Morrie Fern truck. He used to drive me to school in that every morning. And then when he got the big red truck, he used to drive me to school in it every morning. I think I was the only one that ever arrived to school in a giant truck. old truck. And when I was in high school in driver's training, he had me drive the big red truck across Day Street, teaching me all about the two-speed rear axle and when to shift it.
So then, he got his big red truck, the big red flatbed with the two-speed rear axle. That was his working truck. Well, they had one job. It was a fire job, and Doug picked up all the stuff at the house, and in amongst the stuff there was this old piano, an old upright piano that was burnt to a crisp, but you could still tell it was a piano. And he took everything else to the dump, but he kept the piano. Well, one day I needed to borrow the truck because I had something to do. I don't remember what it was, but I picked up the truck early in the morning, about 8 o'clock in the morning, and headed up the hill to my house, going up Valmont Street. When those of you who are familiar with Valmont Street, when it hits Commerce, or hits Tunga Canyon, basically, all of a sudden it takes a slight upgrade. Well, no big problem for the big red truck. You throw it in granny first gear, and you hit up the hill, and double clutch it into second, and off you go. Well, I got to the double clutch part, and I heard the most horrendous noise I'd ever heard in my life. It seems the piano had slid itself out the back of the truck and smashed into a billion pieces on the street. The only thing left of it was the big soundboard with the strings on it. And it was still ringing. There were people coming out of their houses with their cups of coffee in their hand, wondering what the hell had landed. So out there, one of the neighbors came and helped me throw the stuff back into the truck. It was just kindling, basically, except for that giant soundboard. We got that in the truck. I went and took care of what I had to do, took it back to Doug and said, your piano, you probably should have tied it to the side of the truck. Well, Doug looked at it, and he said, well, grab the other end. We took it over and threw it up in the ADU. He mounted it on the wall as a headboard.
I got to know my Uncle Doug in in a way that I never thought I ever would, and I'm so grateful for that time because it ended up not being enough time. But
it's really a shame that he left us so soon, and I'll keep him in my prayers when I'm singing and stuff like that.
I have very fond memories of Doug. A real sweetheart.
He was just a sweetheart, boy. Nice day if it doesn't rain. Nice day if it does. You know, that was him. Really a sweet guy.
I always appreciated Doug. One of the finest people I've ever known.
I just wanted to say thank you. Sorry, that's so high pitched. For giving me my best friend in the whole world, and for help raising me, and you'll always be part of who I am.
Anyway, really gonna miss him and cherish all the memories I had with him.
I miss him very much. I'm really happy that I got to see him on June 29th. That was just, I gave him a hug and told him I loved him and I hope that he was doing well. And it breaks my heart to know that he's gone.
All of you people who came, it's amazing. I'm so grateful. He had friends like all of you.
We spent a lot of time together, and he was a really good brother. I'm going to miss him a lot.
Doug was something different. But something really good.
I must be going. I cannot stay. I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came, but just the same I must be going. La la.
For my sake, you must stay. If you should go away, you spoil this party. I am through.
I'll stay a week or two. I'll stay the summer through. But I am telling you, I must be